Anya, if I have any kind of advice for people wanting to travel alone, if I haven't mentioned it already, and I may have, is hook up with a family. Like go through, I didn't do Airbnb, but I think they're on Airbnb. When I went to the Dominican Republic, I went down to visit a dentist whom I'd never before met, but I was sick to death of the four, at that point, dentists I had seen for this issue in Canada, and they all had a different story, but it was all, oh, there's nothing wrong, you can just live with it. I said, it's my mouth, it's my annoying tooth, it's me who's going to deal with it. So, anyway, when I went there, by happenstance, but I'd been traveling alone before, and I'd been staying with people before. How did that work out? Oh, I guess before, when I'd been traveling alone, I would be going to see a friend in another country or something like that. Like maybe I can remember one time a Canadian friend, and then another time going with somebody. Wasn't traveling alone, but we went to their family, stayed with them. So I'd had experiences of staying with local people in foreign countries, and I mean, very foreign countries, different cultures and languages and all that stuff. So when I went to the Dominican, I didn't speak Spanish, but I found a place through booking.com, I believe it was, and then I went down another time and I worked with her directly. And then another time I went down, I didn't even stay at her place because she didn't have sufficient internet. And I was checking out where I could stay in the Dominican that had fantastic internet. And so I stayed in a condominium, gorgeous condominium, extremely reasonable rates in my opinion. And but then this family lived in the same city, same town. And so they came over to my condominium, and the kids played in the pool and all that stuff. So we had a visit. And that's what I love about staying with people when I go off to travel, especially when I'm traveling alone. Now, last year, I was down here in Mexico for 18 months, and I rented a place in Cuernavaca that was the second floor of the house of a family. And so I had that woman and her family. No, just her husband. Well, her husband and her son doesn't talk so much. So anyway, I had the husband and especially the wife to talk to. I didn't have a lot of Spanish, so I did my own things, went off and just enjoyed Mexico. And and I went to visit my son-in-law's parents, brother and sister-in-law, and their children and all that, and a sister lives right close by. So her and her family too, that I would visit. And so I would go there at least once a week during the week, and then they would invite me over sometimes if there was something happening on the weekend. So, yeah, I was getting, Spanish that way. I'm not going to say lots. I mean, it was lots. Yes, it was. It was tons. It was only Spanish there. It's just that I was shying away where I was living because the woman who owns that home is my age exactly, well, by 6 months difference. Her birthday's in June, and she catches up to me, so she'll be 66 in June, and I think I'm going to be there, if not in her home, at least in Cuernavaca for her birthday, again this year. And anyway, I welched out on taking advantage of getting all the Spanish I could have from her. And why? Because I felt like I was putting her out by making her struggle to listen to me and repeat herself so many times and all that stuff. And yet, that's my ego talking, because I know on the other hand, she had been struggling for, was it at that point, 2 years from the lockdown. Nobody was coming to. So her place is rented out typically to students, and no one was coming to go to schools. Cuernavaca is a school city. It's full of universities, but especially languages. people weren't coming from other countries, and they weren't even coming from her own country to study, not languages, but to study whatever, And so, at any rate, I had the whole upstairs to myself completely. And I didn't have people to talk to there either, so I was living alone, and I would talk to her, a few words every day and a couple of few conversations a week. But my ego felt I was cumbersome for her. And yet, at a soul level, I knew that was not the case. She told me a story. Maybe I'll separate this and put it in another one as well, because this is a beautiful story, how if we permit God to guide us, and if we follow God's guidance, how beautiful a life we can live. And I'm just remembering this one right now. So what happened was, I asked the daughter of my host and hostess right here, the ones right here I'm staying with now. She is a sister-in-law of my son-in-law. And so I contacted her and said, I'm coming to Mexico, and if possible, I would like to stay with you guys. Now, this would be asking her in-laws, her parents' in-law, and my consuegros. And we know each other, but I couldn't speak with them, right? So I'm texting her on WhatsApp, and so that she could translate, and explaining that I'm coming down, getting the hell out of Dodge, out of the lockdown that was still on after almost 2 years in Canada. So anyway, that I was going to come down, and I was hoping I could stay there for a few days to get oriented and rent a place in Cuernavaca. And so I asked if she would keep her eyes open for Se Renta signs, and she knows about them, but you might not. So in Mexico, it's common to see a sign on a building that says Se Renta, and it's this is for rent. There's rental opportunities here. So I get down there, and I'm looking in on Facebook and everywhere else that people have mentioned to look, and so we saw 3 or 4 maybe, and for one reason or another, each one of them, it was just a hard no when I went into the place. And I didn't say anything about it. It's just the feeling that you get. It's just a hard no for whatever reason. And so then this one day, as we're driving away, then we go this other way to go back to the house. And we drive by this place that had a Se Renta sign on it. And we pulled over, and I could tell, I couldn't speak much Spanish or understand any, because this was within days of arriving. Then I could tell that this was intended. This wasn't just, we're driving down the street and look at this, because I didn't even notice the sign. So Agla is the sister-in-law's name. So Agla gets out and rings the doorbell, and no, the woman was coming out. Yeah, so her name, the landlady, her name is Irene. She's la dueña de la casa, the owner of the house. And so she was coming out with her garbage bag in her hand to take it down to set it for the garbage truck to pick it up at 6 a.m. I came to learn. But so Agla went out, was getting out of the car to ring the doorbell, but didn't, and so talked to her, and just let me just put the garbage down, and we'll go take a look at it. So we did, and all that was great, and for me, it was a very hard yes. Not so hard, though, that my ego would let me say yes right then, because I had an appointment for Friday, and so I'm thinking, maybe this was Tuesday. Might it have been? I don't know. Or Thursday? I don't know. But anyway, I said to them when we got back in the car, I really like this place, but I have an appointment already set up for Friday evening. So if I don't like that one from Friday evening, I will take this one. Yeah, great. Okay, so we go to look at this place Friday evening. It was a hard no. It was beautiful. Building. As we're walking up the steps, there's drip, 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 strip of water, and there's water on the stairs, and I saw water down in the, the landing, and then I saw water damage in both of the units that she showed us, and it's like, oh, well, no, we have another one too. Oh, great, because I talked to her about the water damage on the wall. I can tell that's water damage. Oh, she wasn't sure what it was. I said, I know, and then I'm telling, Agla and Emilio, and so they're translating, and yeah, no, I know, that's water, so no. Oh, we have another one, go see it. It's got more water damage than this one. And I just said, no, okay, thanks. No, but it's going to be fixed. We're having a plumber come in. Hey, look, I know in Canada things don't happen quickly, but down here you never know when it's going to happen. Not only will the plumber come, and when will he come, but have they really called them? Maybe they just want to get some rent money, and then maybe they'll call them later. At any rate, that was a hard no, so I end up going back, and I mean, we didn't go back, but we talked to her, and I did eventually go back to sign a lease, and I moved in with them, and it was beautiful. So I was living alone, but with a family in the house too, and I didn't take advantage of all the opportunity I had because I was shying away from not wanting to make it too cumbersome for her. So anyway, I'm there, and I go here and there with people and by myself, all over, not all over, but around a lot of places in Mexico. So it was great. But still, I would always bump into people who spoke a lot of English. But my Spanish certainly grew and grew and grew. And then I decided, you know what, I want to go to the beach, because the rain started in Cuernavaca, and when it started in June, that was okay. It was at night. July, it was at night. August, it started raining during the day, too. By September, it's frickin' cold, and for 2 weeks, I never saw the sunshine. I said, I don't have to be here. I don't have to be anywhere. I'm going to choose where I go. So I chose to go to the beach. So, for one reason or another, I chose Acapulco. And I go there, and I rent a 2-bedroom condo by myself because I'm thinking, I just want to have it available in case any of my friends would like to come and visit, because now they were permitting people to leave Canada. Seriously, if you didn't get the injection, you couldn't leave the frickin' country. How stupid is that? If he hates us, like he said, Trudeau, the Prime Minister, like he said, he was going to do stuff to us and we're terrible people and all that. Well, if he hated us so much, why didn't he say, go? You don't want to be here? We don't want you anyway? Go. No. He locked us in. So then it was open, and then I could have gone back without the stick up the nose or the needle in the arm, but it was October. Why the heck would I go back to the cold in October? So I stayed in Acapulco, and I did have actually one girlfriend come over and stay, not many times, 2 or 3 times. I stayed at her place 2 or 3 times, but she's a young woman from Belgium whom I met and I happened to live in Belgium, so it was interesting, whom I met in Acapulco, and she was on one side. It's a very big city. She was on one side and I was on the other, so when we got together, we would stay at each other's places, so it was great. Anyway, I did not grow my Spanish much. She and I spoke in English, right? And I didn't grow my Spanish a whole lot in Acapulco, which was unfortunate, but it's what it was. So then this time, wherever I went, whether I had gone to Costa Rica or the Dominican Republic or anywhere at all in a Spanish-speaking country, it would have been for sure, because I want to really learn Spanish. So then I just reached out to this couple whom I'd known before, my current hosts, and they're like, yeah, come on down. So I am renting a room in their home, but I pretty much, 80% of the time, I have the whole downstairs of the house to myself. Well, can't be 80% of the time, because I spent a lot of time talking with the hostess, and with the host, we get together for meals. So he comes home for the 3 or 4 o'clock meal, and he'll start up a subject. He wants to know something more about Canada or something more about me, or he'll start a subject about something. And today was fabulous. This morning for breakfast, it was fabulous what he was talking about. I don't do breakfast with him too much. There's another opportunity, but I just don't do breakfast, and I'm just not, my head's not really in the game. But this morning it was. I had lots of sleep, and all that stuff. Had an afternoon nap after all this sun yesterday. So I was up and out for breakfast, and usually he leaves like quite quickly, and I don't want to detain him or anything, but I guess he liked to be detained this morning because he got into a big story of their visit to Canada, and wow, what a beautiful story on a few levels, the experiences they had. So anyway, so back to why I'm telling you all of this. It's because we hold ourselves back from having the richest experience we could have. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there's more of our life left, right? We can go back. We can go to a different place. We can have different experiences. But when you're traveling alone, the difference between being alone and being lonely. So I can't say that I've been lonely at all. I did have a brief little moment last year, right at Christmas time, like 2 days before Christmas maybe, when my son-in-law flew down from Canada. His parents flew down to Acapulco from Canada, not to visit me, but to pick up his parents, who were driven, or they took a bus. I think they took a bus to Acapulco, and then they were picked up by their other son, who lives out this way where I am now, and they just took the opportunity to go see Mom and Dad before they went away for the winter up to Canada. Yeah, funny, Mexicans going to Canada for the winter. Well, they went for Christmas and my son-in-law's birthday in February, and my daughter's birthday in January. So anyway, they all stopped into my place, and then we all went for lunch, and then we all went and hung out a bit. And then when they were leaving, I felt lonely for a moment. Then the moment's gone, dust in the wind. So anyway, so what I did is I just reached out to my daughter, and I just phoned her, to not feel lonely. So I would say that's the only time I felt lonely. Alone, yes. And why? My own doing. So here, I don't feel alone at all. I am staying with this couple. They are so friendly. I don't have to be with them all the time, but they invite me to so many things. And I can say thank you, but no. And they're not offended. And it's just absolutely beautiful and wonderful, and I encourage people who are going off traveling alone, and I mean traveling alone. If you want to go to an all-inclusive alone, well, that's okay. You're going to a group of people, and that's fine. Maybe that's what you want to do. But if you want to go out and have these really rich experiences and really stretch yourself, really stretch your comfort zone, because we can never get out of our comfort zone. That's a bunch of BS when people talk about get out of your comfort zone. You cannot. What you do is you're stretching that zone, and you're not very comfortable in this stretched out place. You got your comfort zone here, and as you stretch it and you're going out near the edges, you're not comfortable there, but the third time you do it, it's a piece of cake. Second time, you feel a little more comfortable. You have a little more confidence. Third time, once it's done, you're golden. From then on, you can do it without any issues whatsoever. So, stretching your comfort zone. If you're ready to do that, and you want to travel to different countries, I encourage you to book a room in someone's home where they're renting out. They're renting a room in their home. That's how I started it. And and it's just lovely. So to travel by yourself for the first time, I think a lot of people go to all-inclusives. And I think that's a great thing, because you've got a whole group of people there. You don't have to be around them, but you're apt to find some that you like to be around once in a while. And being alone is a great way to get to know yourself. A fabulous way to get to know yourself. And having rich experiences, like I'm talking problems, running into problems, that's a great way to get to know who you are too. Can't blame it on anybody else, like, oh, my partner did this and rah, rah, rah. No, you got any complaints? They're all for you. They're all about you. They're all for you. So it's a great way to get to know who you are, and then a great way to see who it is you want to be. So you want to change who you're being? You get to see, this is what I want to change about myself. Yeah. So on that note, if you're ready to start traveling by yourself, you got a few ways there that I've talked about doing it. And if you want to hash it out or anything with me, you're very welcome to. Just leave a comment in this, below here or whatever. And I'm sure I'm going to get notification of the comment, and I will be delighted to reach out to you and we can have a conversation. No charge. I'm not doing this for any money or anything like that. It's just a fun thing to do. If I can help inspire anyone else, if I can help inspire anyone else, it's my pleasure to do so. All right, so go forth and prosper and have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. Mwah.